Tennessee, I believe, wholeheartedly is trending upward in a massive way. And not just in the trending up of like, oh yeah, good for Tennessee, they're starting to make incremental gains. It's like, no, Tennessee, I believe, is speaking softly and carrying a big stick. They had another big recruiting weekend this past weekend. They currently have a top 10 class, and they are in it for the number one offensive tackle in America in David Sanders. There's been a steady trend upwards internally on Tennessee on the roster and what Josh Heupel's done there, but also on the recruiting trail. Like, there's been signs of Tennessee making gains when we look at these class rankings. In 2022, 15th ranked class. In 2023 and 2024, they were in that 12 to 13 range. Right now in 2025, they are inside the top 10. Tennessee faithful, man, y'all have been dialed into this channel for a very long time, and we appreciate you for that. If you're just now finding this show, The Hard Count, on the On3 YouTube channel, welcome home. No time like the present to subscribe and be a part of what we got going on right here. It is a community for college football sickos just like yourself. And the Nico era, man, is rolling. We're going to talk a lot about your Vols, so make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss a minute of it. And the thing about Tennessee, when you talk about their class rankings, it's not just the quarterback. Like, as long as Josh Heupel is coaching at Tennessee, they're going to have a quarterback, someone who can get it done for you. We've seen that from them. I mean, talk about Joe Milton and all the things that they have to say about him negatively in the college football public based on what happened last year. They still scored 32 points a game. So he wasn't bad. But look at how they've recruited from a Nico Iamaleava to a Jake Merklinger to a George McIntyre in this class, who I think is going to be a stud. Like, they're going to have quarterbacks. But it's not just the quarterback position. To me, it's the personnel that they're landing on their recruiting trail and have landed at other key positions. Talk about what they're doing up front. James Pierce, he's going to be a top 15 pick. He committed to Heupel in the 2022 class. Four-star linebacker Arian Carter. I think he's going to have a solid role in the future here for Tennessee. Five-star defensive lineman David Hobbs in that 23 class. Five-star Jordan Ross, an edge in the 2024 class. Four-star offensive tackle Bennett Warren in the 24 class. Douglas Utu, four-star offensive lineman in the 2025 class. Right now, in it for David Sanders. Like, we keep going down the line here. It's like, Josh Heupel is not just recruiting quarterbacks. He's recruiting skill position, absolutely, but also, like, the big boys up front. They're landing those guys as well. And we talk about, what the game of football is and how it's changing schematically. And that's, there's definitely some nuances and there's definitely some things that are going to be trending here over the course of the next couple of years that we've talked about on this show with how they draw it up. But, like, it's still about having the big human beings. Like, the law of nature is the big people will always move the small people, man. There's no way around it. That is just a fact of life. There's a reason you don't hear a lot about that undersized lineman that's a great story in the NFL, because it doesn't really happen. Like, I am a guy who will root for a dude with heart 11 times out of 10. I feel like I was that guy when I played football. There's a reason why I'm speaking into this microphone and talking to you guys on YouTube right now and not playing football somewhere else, all right? Like, I'm 5'11". It is what it is. And so when we talk about what he's building in Tennessee, Josh Heupel's building a gritty football team. There's a lot of, I think, moments that live in our minds, a lot of snapshots of Tennessee being this aerial attack and how much they spread out their wide receivers, and Jalen Hyatt winning the Biletnikoff, and that Hendon Hooker season in 2022 where they beat Alabama, and all they did throwing the football. Like, they want to be a gritty football team under Josh Heupel. They're recruiting that way. I believe they played that way last year. That's who they want to be. They want to be a tough football team. And I think when you talk about the way that he's built this roster now, the way they've kind of stockpiled, I believe, in a lot of ways, some of this upper level talent, and the way they're recruiting on both lines of scrimmage, Josh Heupel's system offensively is built to compensate for a talent gap. Like, when they spread you all the way out to the sideline and they get their one-on-one matchup, they do that to make it happen on the perimeter as opposed to having to make it happen up front. Not that they can't, but when you line up against Georgia and they have those 5-star plus defensive linemen across the board, or those old Alabama teams, like, that's not a matchup you're going to win most frequently. But the way Josh Heupel's building this now, what if in the next couple of years that talent gap is significantly decreased, if not non-existent? Then what? My take on Tennessee now as they continue to trend upward, man, like the talent level for them is going to continue to increase. The recruiting rankings say it. The class rankings say it. The roster is saying it. Look at the quarterback position, man. They are always going to have a quarterback, I believe, to separate when that talent gap is comparable or when that talent level is similar. That's where Tennessee will pull away. That will be the difference. And so we talk about Tennessee trending up, man, with them having a top 10 class right now and them being in the David Sanders sweepstakes. This is a sign of the times. They've recruited at a high level for a long time. They're continuing to recruit at a higher level. And when they get into that neighborhood where they're recruiting in the top 10, top 5 on National Signing Day, I think everyone should be very, very nervous. The Hard Count is brought to y'all by our friends over at Roback. So you guys all know how much I love Roback. I wear them all the time. If you tuned into my Instagram stories during the fall, it's me out there on the porch just doing a video question and answer with y'all via my Instagram. So subscribe or follow me there at JD Pickell on Instagram. They have the best polos on the market, best hoodies on the market. And going back to those stories, if you're watching those, I'm always wearing something Roback, all right? Whether it's a hoodie, a long sleeve, a t-shirt, whatever it is, Roback is typically our choice whenever we're not in the office. The moisture wicking technology and 4-way stretch makes it easy to move in while keeping you feeling fresh. Roback also has everyday shorts that are perfect for pairing. They're comfortable, have an elastic waistband, great fabric that is made to stretch. They have also released a ton of new products between the comfortable t-shirts I mentioned to you, bathing suits. Roback is ready for the warm weather, and they're ready to launch us into the fall as well. Roback has also been proudly leading the NIL charge, having signed partnerships with college stars Jalen Milroe, Cade Klubnik, among others. They're becoming the go-to brand for college athletes. So hear this if you hear nothing else that I'm saying. Use the code JD, just the letters J and D, no periods, on Roback.com for a generous 20% off for all new customers through the end of this week. That's spelled RHOBACK.com. That's 20% off all performance polos, shorts, hoodies, bathing suits, whatever you want. Roback has got you. Make sure you save some money using code JD at Roback.com. Hey y'all, thanks so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel here to make sure you don't miss an episode of The Hard Count. Also be sure to check out other videos on the On3 YouTube channel.